What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. And this is another episode of Rickle Me Pick. I am your host, Anar, and we're doing this again. This is actually take 2 of this episode. And the reason I say this is take 2 is because yesterday we ran this episode. I did about a smooth 18 to 20 minutes. And come to find out, at the end of the episode, it was no audio at all. Like, you couldn't hear me. You just couldn't hear anything I was saying. So we fixed that problem. It was a simple solution. And we are back here today. You know what I mean? Like I said, and this is take number 2. So here's a toast to that. And let's get this thing underway, shall we? So we are talking episode 2, season 5, MortyPlicity. And this is coming off a play of words from the movie MortyPlicity, starring Mr. Batman himself, Mr. Birdman himself, Mr. Vulture himself, Mr. Michael Keaton. And in that movie, Michael Keaton multiplied himself many times. And in this episode of MortyPlicity, it was straight chaos. And from the opening scene, it started with a bang.
Holy smokes.
Straight started with a bang. And it went from, started from one Smith family. Then it jumped into, that Smith family finding out there were decoys. And then there was decoys making the decoys, who was making more decoys, who was making, you guessed it, even more decoys. And it came to the point where nobody knew who was who. Truthfully, if you want to be honest, let's just completely be honest. We still don't fucking know who is who. Just the same way we still don't know which Beth is the clone. So we don't know who's who, but all we do know is that all these Smiths and Sanchez's began to kill each other because they needed to take out the other decoys. Now, we hear that, what I'm saying? Well, we'll get into that later, but, to jump into the episode, it started off with, like I said, one of the Smith families coming in and getting straight murked up by a squid family. It then, like I said, it then jumps around. Every time a family was killed, another family was alerted, and it just went on like that. You see one of the Sanchez families and one of the Ricks right here. They're watching Wenwolf, which, if you go back to the prior scene and this scene, they're both, knocks and nods to American Werewolf in London. The whole squid scene coming in and killing the family is very similar to the dream they had in American Werewolf in London, where, these futuristic dudes came in and started blasting everybody. Then we have the Wenwolf play off of words, when, where, why. You know what I'm saying? But in the show Wenwolf, it actually jumps to like a flash, you know what I mean? Like they go with the whole Terminator feel. And, he jumps back in time. And as you can see, you see like a caveman Dracula. Well, if you look at this Dracula, it is the same one that they use, prior to, which happens to be the same type of vampire they use as the DJ. Let me take off that banner, or let me take that off so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Bam. Oops. Wrong one. Hold on. All right. Yeah. So now you can see, in that top corner right there, you can see this. It's the same vampire there. And then actually, if you go to, for all my comic book readers, if you go to Rick and Morty, volume number 8, you can see here it's the same type of vampire. So, Rick and Morty likes to stay with that same style of vampire. Maybe that's something we'll see later on. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, Rick will have an encounter with these vampires later on down the road. Who knows? But as far as this episode goes, you know what I mean? I don't even know how we straight off into that one. But as far as this episode goes, oh, yeah, because they were watching the Wenwolf. And you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it bounces around for Rick's family. You see one, as we've seen like in the trailers in the cold open, playing with who we know now as Mr. Hunt Me Down. They show another episode, they show another clip, what happens to be like one of the this one and damn it, Mr. Nimbus have become like instant, memes and shit. And this is the portion where, Summer told him they're probably the decoy. And Rick tells Morty he has a barcode in his ass, and Morty needs to check it. Opens his ass, Rick blows one in his face and shit. I was rolling. It was one of the funnier scenes in the episode, in my opinion, as far as straightforward jokes. One of the funniest in the episode, man. But as episode moved on, you know what I mean? This is when they realized, because now they're hitting up houses, and they realized, decoys are making decoys. As you can see, they got the whole lab with the heads and stuff like that. So at this time, like Rick breaks it down to him. Before we even get into that, when they walk into the homes, Morty mentions Ex Mechanica, he mentions Westworld, which in both movies and show, all it is about robots. They create a relationship with humans. They end up sleeping with each other, they get some weird, robot human love going. And that's what basically Rick tells Morty. He was like, yeah, but, don't have sex with him. You know what I'm saying? So he moves forward, which I thought this was just, a crazy ass curveball to throw in. And he mentions the 3 laws of robots, the Asimov cascade, right? Obviously from Isaac Asimov, from the book, from the short story The Runaround. I'm not going to read this shit. You know what I'm saying? If y'all want to read this shit, y'all can read this shit. I'm not. But you got the first law, second law, third law. These are the 3 laws of robotics. They came out in it says the 40s, but I think it was actually like 42. He mentions that, and he basically, lets them know that, from this point on, shit's just going to get weird. You know what I mean? He says if you duplicate things over and over, it's just going to get weird, which he throws a nod to Rule 34. Everybody who kind of knows something about the internet knows Rule 34 is anything porn. You know what I'm saying? It's porn related, right? But in this episode, there was if you really pay attention to it, there was no type of sexuality. There was no type of sexual attraction in this episode at all. If you actually go back to the first episode with Nimbus, that was all the sexual, the sexual action. This episode, it was more of a metaphorical, phrase when they use Rule 34. All right. Rule 34, like I said, when it comes to the internet, Rule 34 means porn. In this episode, it's just like geek after geek type information. You know what I mean? So he's taking it as like a reference to, no offense, but nerds, and giving them like, this episode is just pumping them with like, physics and, laws, laws of physics type shit that, people, that would be considered geeks or nerds would just, fascinate and just love over. So it's like porn to them, which he plays with the Rule 34. So it's a little knowledge for you. You know what I mean? I didn't mean to bore you, but just a little knowledge for you. But he then ends up, quoting the last little phrase with the Highlander poster. There can only be one. That's the one where he was just like, are you serious? Nobody's seen it in 1986.
There can be only one.
There could be only one. And basically from that point on in the episode, it was just straight rampage. They went from clip to clip, showing Ricks killing each other. And basically they were just, mimicking movies, you know what I'm saying? Because by this time they already found out that they were, the decoys were dressed up as squids. So that's when they just went into the little montage. You know what I mean? They find the decoy chip in the head. You know what I'm saying? They shout out to Rambo, First Blood, you know what I mean? With the camouflage in the walls that you can see here. They throw a shout out to Terminator, as you can see here. You know what I'm saying? Just a little montage just to end it with I'm calling it, I see a lot of people online call this portion the Scarecrow Rick. You know what I mean? Scarecrow from like Batman, Scarecrow type shit, Jeepers Creepers type shit. That's a fair assumption. Some people say this the Hannibal Lecter because of the skin. I'm looking at it more like a Leatherface type Rick. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I see him. So I'm gonna reference him as Leatherface Rick. That's what I'm gonna do. You can reference him as a Scarecrow Rick. You can reference him as, ugly ass Rick, whatever. I'm going to reference him as Leatherface Rick. All right. As you can see, that's my resemblance to him. You know what I mean? Looks pretty, I don't know what the word pretty resemblance. I don't know. That's not a word, but yeah, they look alike, Mo. You know what I'm saying? So they go into this whole Hannibal Lecter scene and blah, 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 or Leatherface scene. See, I'm still fucking it up. And they ended up getting saved by like the Wooden family. You know what I mean? These Wooden family were fucking hilarious. This was like the most subtle joke in the whole episode, but this family was fucking hilarious. Just because, you know what I mean? They had like the toy box voice and everything. Like it was just this family, it was funny as fuck. If you haven't seen the episode, you got to see it. You'll understand it. So they bring them back to their lair and shit. Beth's talking to him. You know what I'm saying? The Wooden Beth, as it is. She in her speech, she's basically kind of saying like how everybody in her family kind of fucked shit up, but they're gonna get it fixed. And if you read the comics, back to my comic book readers, you know what I mean? If you read the comics, I'm gonna put it up one more time. This image looks very, very similar to issue number 22 of Rick and Morty, where they had Jerry, facing the Citadel of Ricks. Maybe a nod, maybe not, I don't know. But all I know is, what I'm saying, the resemblance is, very similar. So I just thought I'd point that out. So by this time, right? By this time, Rampage has gone on, and one of the Smith families, we don't know if they're real or not. Well, I guess they're not. We found out they're not. They're decoys. They just say, fuck it. So Rick calls on for the Star Fox final boss type, head, which becomes this, right? Starts, attracting other, other Ricks, where you have this Rick here, which, I've heard kind of looks like the Minecraft type Rick. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We all know Rick and Morty does has referenced Minecraft several times. I say the final boss, is a resemblance of the, of the giant heads, but we all know it is coming from the Star Fox boss, like Rick references. He says, give me the final Star Fox boss. So that's what we got. So here's where it gets, here's where it gets, a little intense, right? So Rick armors up the family. Boom. You see him. He gives Beth the super dope shotgun pistol. He gives Summer the, like the Star Wars, double-sided blade, looking like the lightsaber. Shouts out to Star Wars. He gives Jerry a fucking pistol. And he gives we finally get to see Morty with the laser whip. Shouts out back to, Promortius when he asked for the laser whip. I tried to get the clip, but the copyright shit be so hard, man, to get any fucking clips, with actual audio. So I wasn't actually able to get it, man. But yeah, it is back. If you go watch Promortius, is when they suit up into the unnecessarily badass suits. You know what I mean? That's when Rick mentions, or Morty mentions, I'm sorry, that next time he wants a whip and Rick it's 100% guaranteed that you chop your dick off with it. You know what I mean? He did not chop his dick off. Well, I mean, I guess he ended up dying anyways, but I mean, I guess he proved Rick wrong. So while this shit's going on, we see this old puppet family who ends up being another another Smith and Rick. They think they're the real ones. They end up throwing down. You know what I'm saying? We see one of the Ricks bite his teeth, shooting off a red capsule, which he ends up blowing up. The Rick on top bites, does the same thing. Has a force field, which those blue capsules and the red capsules in the teeth go back to last week's episode. You know what I'm saying? Where Rick tells them that they have suicide capsules in the teeth.
There are suicide capsules in all of your teeth. Do what you want with that. Come on, Morty.
So, that's a quick callback to that, possibly. Maybe that's what that is. Maybe it isn't, but he did commit suicide with that shit. He blew himself up. We see the Summers going at it. All in all, just for one final Smith family and Rick to survive, whether it's all of them put together or not, you know what I mean? To be killed by Mr. Hunt Me Down because nobody hunted him down. And that was part of the game. And nobody did it. So that's what it is, you know. We come to the end of the episode just to find out, you know, what we think is the real Smith family was actually out in space, and they run into Space Beth, who, because Space Beth is the reason why Rick created the decoys anyways, because he said he created the decoys after the incident with Space Beth to, you know what I'm saying, give him some type of fluffer between her and them. You know what I'm saying? So, but then we see him here in space with Space Beth. So is this in fact, you know, the actual family? We don't know. Is it another decoy? We don't know. But, you know, it is what it is. We come to the end of the episode and we see Jerry's punk ass, you know what I'm saying, the wooden Jerry who bailed on his family and let him die. We see him. He tarnished himself. He goes in the water just to get captured by beavers. He becomes a beaver nest. He gets flushed down, you know what I'm saying? He gets flushed down the dam. Millennials pass, and you know, as you can see, you know, he talked to these bird and dolphin people just to be, you know, hung up on a wall during cowboy era, burnt, and then used for Christianity. Which, if you pay attention to the timeline, you know, we started at, you know, Christianity to where we are now, and they basically went from where we are now back to Christianity in that order. It was fucking hilarious. This was like, this scene alone, which would happen to be just the ending alone, was just a funny ass scene altogether. And not to mention, there is a callback in this scene, right? So if you remember, I believe it was season 2, episode 1, and Mr. Schleemy Pants, right? He talks about, he makes the comment where he's on the phone and he says, nah, if you get to the dolphin people, you went too far, right? Well, this is a timeline like way ahead in time. And as you can see here, we have a dolphin-faced person. So this was obviously a callback to the timeline that Mr. Schleemy Pants was talking about. So, you know, I thought that was, you know, rather interesting. You know what I mean? Myself. So that was pretty much, you know what I'm saying, the basic concept of the episode, man. You know, there was a few things in and out, like, as for instance, this is the 3rd episode that I've noticed Summer and Rick to have the whole lick tits, you know, little phrase that they had amongst each other. In this episode, they didn't actually say lick tits, but when they were running through the woods, Summer makes the comment saying this licks. And Rick was like, everything at this point licks, Summer, which, you know, if you go back to Pro Mortius, when they, once they suit up in the unnecessarily badass armor, Rick says, let's lick tits. Then if you go back to last week's episode,
let's lick tits.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? So obviously Summer and Rick subtly, you know, whether the fans and the viewers are paying attention or not, have grown this strong relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because now Rick trusts Summer going on solo missions, because as we see back in our last week's episode, he sent her to Atlantis to go take out, you know, saying Nimbus's squad and shit. This is not the first time he's trusted Summer to do a mission. And obviously they got little lingo and shit. You know, he has been beefing with Morty a little bit, you know, because Morty's trying to venture off and do his own shit. So it comes as no surprise that him and Summer have built a bond. And how strong this bond will be, I don't know. How it would affect Morty and his bond, I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Is he creating this bond because he knows he's losing Morty? That's a possibility. But Rick ain't never going to admit that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the callbacks and the shit. Like I said, there was a lot of them. Like I said, we had the laser whip from Pro Mortius, the Schleemy Pants quote, the vampires, the suicide teeth. They mentioned Clone Beth, and you know, that was pretty much the whole reason why this shit started. One of them that I did, you know, that we did catch on, a lot of viewers caught on to this shit, is when they walked into the first house, right? And he shut down the clone Rick, and he gave the code 80085. Well, for those who weren't paying attention or were paying attention, 80085 is nothing but boobs when you type it into the calculator. You know what I'm saying? So when he walked in, and then Beth even made the comment of, oh, I thought you were going to make it something more creative. And he was like, nah, I didn't plan on showing it off. So that's what he meant when he put in the code 80085.
Boobs. I just want to say that again. Boobs.
Boobs. So there you go. Everybody, you know what I'm saying, loves a good pair. What you gonna do, man? It is what it is. So in this episode, we actually lost quite a few people. Yet they were all the same people. We lost, numerous Beths, numerous Jerrys, fuck him. We lost numerous Summers, Mortys, and Ricks. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said we lost a lot of people, but we lost the same one. So I did my best, to gather as many Smith family members and Rick Sanchez's that I could find that were annihilated and obliterated. One of those words in this episode. And let's pay a little tribute to him. So there you have it, you know what I mean? Rest in peace to all those Ricks, Mortys, Beths, and Summers. And fuck the Jerrys, straight up. But that was pretty much, man. That was pretty much our episode, MortyPlicity, in a nutshell. It was a hilarious episode, man. Like it was fucking hilarious from beginning to end. This episode was just hilarious. However, I still favor, you know what I mean? Without even comparing, I still favor the Nimbus episode. There's something about Nimbus that was just, addicting. You know what I'm saying? Like the homie from Fandom Empire, he stated earlier in his thing, I have watched, episode 1 like numerous, like almost a dozen times, and I've only seen MortyPlicity like 2. You know what I mean? So that maybe has a lot to do with it also. But I don't know, man. Nimbus is going to be a hard one, to overcome. Definitely hard one to overcome, man. Nimbus is that guy. You know what I'm saying? Without even, without even trying to talk about him, we're over here talking about him. You know what I'm saying? So Nimbus is just that dude. But we can't talk about Nimbus right now because we got to worry about next week's episode. That's right. Season 5, episode 3, a Rickconvenient Mort. Okay. So we got a little trailer for this. Now, I might get reported. I might not. It might get taken down. I hope not. When I showed the cold open last week for episode 2, I did get shut down. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, copyright reasons. But yeah, man, just don't report it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you happen to report it, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to watch this thing. And all I need everybody to do while we watch it is...
Hey, everybody shut the fuck up! Everybody shut the fuck up!
Okay. So now that we have, that understanding, let's go ahead and jump right into this. Season 5, episode 3, a Rickconvenient Mort. And let me go ahead and pull up that trailer real quick. Bear with me one moment. And here we go. So there you have it, man. Next week, we got this Captain America looking ass female that off rip. Here we go. Look at, we know that's Captain America. They got this fucking weasel in the air. You know what I'm saying? Fucking shooting acid out like he's goddamn. I don't fucking know, man. You know what I'm saying? Who gave this fucking weasel a fucking motorized flying hoverboard cart shit? You know what I'm saying? That can spray acid. You know what I mean? So, and then if you pay attention to Morty, so pay attention to the timeline, right? So Morty tried to hook up with Jessica. That didn't happen because now she's a fucking time god. So now, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to hook up with anything and everything. So now he sees this flying Captain America green looking save, you know, reuse, reduce the fucking, you know what I'm saying? Save the ozone planet type chick. And now he wants to bone her down. Morty's pathetic, man. So I love the episode, or I love the trailer. You know what I mean? I've seen the trailer probably about like 5 times. And every time I see the trailer, you know, this.
Oh, okay. Goddamn.
That's how I feel every time I see the trailer, man. But that's it, man. We've pretty much come to an end of the episode. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I appreciate everybody that tuned in for this second take. Because like I said, you know, we tried to run this yesterday. And it really didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But you know what? We're here. And I appreciate every single one of y'all coming out.
You sons of bitches!
I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. So, you know, without further ado, I ain't going to hold y'all up. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that came. Like I said, you can follow me on my Instagram at Rickle-Me-Pick. You can follow me on my main page, the original on NR. Don't forget the underscores. You can follow me here on YouTube at NR Originals, Twitter, NR_Originals, and on Twitch, you know what I'm saying? Because I be gaming. I be on that Madden. I be on that duty. You know what I mean? So you catch me at NR_Originals there as well. I appreciate everybody for coming through. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. You know what I'm saying? Mad love, mad respect. I will see all of y'all next week. Don't forget the episode coming up, a Rickconvenient Mort. That will be on Sunday, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, Adult Swim. Don't miss it because we will be back next week, Monday or Tuesday. I haven't decided yet, but we will be back and we will be talking about this thing. And like I said, you know what I mean? I will have a special guest with me next week. So make sure you tune in. We will have a guest talker with us and we're going to talk about this Rick and Morty life, man. If you have any questions, hit me up on my Instagram. You can leave a comment here, you know what I'm saying, underneath the description. Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Just anyway, you know what I'm saying? All my info is, you know, in the description. Hit me up. Any questions you want to get on the show, you want to give any feedback, you know what I'm saying? You just want to give some knowledge, you got some intel, whatever the case is, man. I don't know it all. I want to gain more knowledge as well. So, you know what I mean? I want y'all to interact. I want y'all to give y'all feedback. And we're just going to make this show even better, you know what I'm saying, as the time goes on. But until next week, I appreciate y'all coming out. I appreciate y'all tuning in. This has been another episode of Rickle-Me-Pick, and I will see all y'all next week. Peace.